It's just for you to learn.
Okay.
Oh, let me start.
Okay, class. So today we're going to look at calculating interest. We have an example here. We have Preston earns money by mowing lawns in the neighborhood. List some reasons that Preston might want to deposit his earnings into a savings account rather than keep it at home. I'm going to give you a moment to list those. Now, some reasons that he might want to is because it's a secure savings account. By securing the money into the bank, it has an insurance somewhat on it. So if anything happens, then he can get it back. And another reason is less likely to spend it. Now your answers might be different. Now is the time that you can turn to a neighbor and give a different answer. Going on, one reason that might be that Preston's money could earn. What will we earn on our money? Which is interest. Or additional money that you earn for keeping money in a savings account. Interest is earned regularly, such as annually, which means once a year, and is expressed as a rate or percentage. Now, when we look at simple interest is interest earned only on the principal. And remember that principal talks about our starting amount, how much you borrowed or initially start with, or as it says, the original amount deposited. So when looking for simple interest, utilize the formula I equals PRT. Each one of these components means something different. I represents interest, and the interest is always a dollar amount. Okay. The interest refers to what the company makes off of the funds being borrowed. Principal, which is P, talks about our starting amount, our initial deposit. Okay, what do we start with? What did you get, or what did you put into the account originally? R talks about rate, and rate is always, you always have to convert it to a decimal. They're going to give it to you as a percentage. So your rate, your interest rate, is given as a percent, but you have to convert, and that sign means convert, to a decimal. Okay? And we'll talk about how to convert that in a moment. T represents time. Our time is always in years. If given months, you have to convert that to years. Okay? To convert months to years, okay, you take the number of months they give you and you divide it by, what do you think you divide it by? Right, 12, because there's 12 months in a year. Going back to the rate, to convert a percentage to a decimal, you can take the percentage that they give you, and if you look at the percentage sign, we have the 0, the 1, the 0, and that bar means divide, right? So you take that number, you divide by 100. if you ever forget, remember the percentage bar, it has a 1 and 2 zeros. It has the bar to divide. Okay, so now let's go to some practice problems. Before we go to the practice problems, let's go back to our formula. With simple interest, it says I equals PRT. Remember, when letters are next to each other here in math, that means multiply. So we're going to take each one of these components and multiply them with each other to get our simple interest. So looking at problem 1, it says a $600 deposit for 30 years at a simple interest rate of 2%. So we need to find the interest and the total value. So utilizing our formula, we know that we need a P, we need a R, and we need a T. So I'm going to list them to the side, and I'm going to find each one of those in the problem. My P, my principal, if I go back, we said that it is the starting amount. Therefore, how much did we start with? $600. It's deposited for 30 years. That represents my time. So that's 30. At a simple interest rate, remember our R is our interest rate, and it's always given as a percentage. So that's how we know what my R is 2%. Now, we have to make sure that each one of these components is in the correct unit. Principals have to be in money, rate has to be as a decimal, and time has to be in years. So we need to convert this to a decimal. So to convert, we take our number, which is 2, and we divide it by 100, which gives us 200. Make sure you say that mathematically correct. That is 200. Now that we have all components of our formula, we know that we have I equals PRT. So when we substitute in what we know, P is 600 times my R, which is 200, times my time, which is 30.
And my calculator under your phone.
And we're going to put that into our calculator just as we wrote it here. So we have 600 times 200 times 30. Hit enter. And that is giving us our interest. So our interest, which is I, is $360. And remember, interest is money, so use your unit. $360. So our total value talks about the total amount that will be in the account after these 30 years. So the 360 talks about how much has accrued over the 30 years. So we need to add that to our original deposit. So we'll take our interest plus our principal, and that's going to give us our total value. That's the formula to find that total amount or total value. Our interest is $360. Our principal is $600. $360. Use your calculators. You have a calculator available, so make sure you use it to check your work. $360 plus $600 is $960.
All right, close it out. My back hurting.
Okay. And that is how you find simple interest.